murdered his brother, spoke to God face to face, and walked away alive. No lightning struck him, no sword ended him. Instead, God marked him. Was it protection, or was it something worse? The first blood spilled on earth did not come from war. It did not come from nations clashing. It came from brothers. The garden was already closed. Eden was guarded. Humanity had stepped into exile. But sin was not finished growing. Outside Eden, humanity multiplied. Work became toil. Life became fragile. And worship continued. 2 sons were born to Adam and Eve. Cain, Abel. Both knew sacrifice. Both knew God. But one would become the first murderer, and the first man ever marked by divine intervention. The story of Cain is not merely about jealousy. It is about warning, choice, judgment, and something mysterious, a mark that still unsettles readers today. What was the mark of Cain? A shield? Or a sentence? Cain was a worker of the ground. Abel was a keeper of flocks. Both brought offerings to the Lord. Cain brought fruit from the soil. Abel brought the firstborn of his flock, with fat portions. Scripture records something stark. God regarded Abel's offering. But Cain's offering was not regarded. No explanation is immediately given. Only the result. Abel's sacrifice was accepted. Cain's was not. And Cain became very angry. The rejection was not public humiliation. It was divine evaluation. And God spoke to Cain. This is where the story deepens. God does not condemn Cain immediately. He confronts him. Why are you angry? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? Then comes the warning. Sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. Before the first murder in history, God gave the first warning about internal corruption. Sin is not passive. It crouches. It waits. It desires mastery. Cain stood at a crossroads. He could master sin, or sin would master him. Cain spoke to Abel, his brother. They went into the field. And there, in isolation, Cain rose against Abel and killed him. No battle. No defense. The first human death at human hands. Blood soaked the ground that had once yielded fruit freely. The earth that had already been cursed because of Adam now received the blood of the righteous. And heaven responded. God speaks again. Where is Abel, your brother? Cain answers with defiance. I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? The first recorded lie. The first recorded sarcasm toward God. Then God reveals something profound. The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Blood has a voice. Abel's blood did not disappear into soil. It testified. This is not metaphor alone. It reveals that injustice is never silent before God. The ground itself becomes witness. Judgment follows. Now you are cursed from the ground. The soil that once responded to Adam's labor would no longer yield its strength to Cain. He would be a restless wanderer. Notice carefully. Cain is not sentenced to death. He is sentenced to instability. No home, no rootedness, no rest. The man who shed blood would never feel secure on earth again. This is not immediate execution. It is prolonged consequence. Cain understands something before it is spoken. My punishment is greater than I can bear. He fears retaliation. Whoever finds me will kill me. Here is the irony. The first murderer fears murder. Violence produces fear. But then something unexpected happens. God responds not with further destruction, but with limitation. The Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. This is the moment that has stirred debate for centuries. What was the mark? Scripture does not describe it. No shape, no color, no detail, only purpose. It prevented others from killing him. The mark was not random. It was intentional, and it came directly from God. The mark of Cain was not approval. It was not honor. It was not blessing. It was protection, but protection inside judgment. Cain would live, but not peacefully. He would survive, but not securely. He would build, but never belong. The mark preserved him from human vengeance, but it did not remove divine consequence. This reveals something unsettling about God's justice. God does not always respond to evil with immediate destruction. Sometimes he allows the guilty to live, marked by consequence, surrounded by restraint. Cain was protected from execution, but he was not restored. He built a city, named it after his son. Civilization expanded, technology advanced, but violence multiplied. The lineage of Cain grows darker. Lamech boasts of killing a man. Violence escalates. The mark did not remove sin from the earth. It restrained chaos from spiraling too quickly. Here is the deeper tension. The mark was mercy, but it was also exposure. Cain would walk the earth as living testimony. A man preserved by God, yet cut off from peace. This is the pattern seen throughout Scripture. God restrains vengeance. He limits retaliation. He sets boundaries around destruction. But he does not erase consequence. Protection does not equal favor. Survival does not equal approval. The mark of Cain shows a God who is both just and patient. Cain deserved death, but death was delayed. Why? Because the story of redemption was still unfolding. If Cain had been killed immediately, human vengeance would have defined justice. Instead, God reserved justice to himself. Yes, Cain was cursed from the ground. He was exiled further from stability. But the mark itself was not the curse. The mark prevented greater violence. It signaled divine ownership. Even in rebellion, Cain belonged under God's authority. No one could take his life without crossing a divine boundary. This is sobering. The same God who cursed Cain also guarded him. Judgment and restraint coexist. The blood of Abel cried out for justice. Later, Scripture reveals something greater. There is another blood that speaks, not for vengeance, but for mercy. Abel's blood cried out from the ground. Christ's blood would later cry out from a cross. One demanded judgment, the other offered forgiveness. The mark of Cain is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a pattern. Sin, blood, judgment, mercy restrained, protection within punishment. Cain walked away from the presence of the Lord, marked, alive, unsettled. But violence did not stop with him. It multiplied. And soon, the earth would become so corrupt that restraint would no longer be enough. In the next story, you will witness the moment when God decides that the world itself must be judged. Do not stop here. Continue with the next video in this playlist.